Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. The final round, the championship, the creme de la creme. Two movies that have swept their competition in every round. Logan and Captain America, Winter Soldier. Who wants to? I don't even know. Who wants to start this out?
You know what?
I've made the points.
I'll start this show. As fire flew from my fingertips and I risened up my bow.
Oh no!
Look. Okay. I'm going to forego my usual sarcasm. It's just going to sit right here for a moment because it might pop up at any time. You know, as much as I've ragged on some of the movies tonight, these are two movies I have defended and spoke about strongly, consistently. You know, and quite frankly, I think we've gotten it right putting these final two movies together. Winter Soldier, I think, is arguably one of the top strongest of the Marvel films. Logan, I think, is one of the times Fox has gotten it right, and they gotten it right to an extremely amazing point, which I would not have considered. There's a lot of clash here. And what I mean is, I'm going to set, before we all start part discussion, I'm going to set it up. We have two different feeling films.
Oh, yeah.
Winter Soldier is the Marvel formula done to its highest capabilities. And when I say the Marvel formula, it doesn't completely follow the Marvel formula, but the Marvel steps are there. But it expands upon them, it twists upon them, it takes our expectation and just furthers them along. You know, Winter Soldier is everything a lot of Marvel movies try to be and come short. It's a colorful movie. There's a lot of great imagery. You know, there's a lot of great action. You know, it stands out above the rest of the Marvel film. And then you got Logan, which is also, in its own right, a beautifully shot film, but shot in a much different way and a much different demeanor than Winter Soldier. You know, the feel, you know, the action feels different. The action of both movies feel different, but they're both, when they're done well, and they're done well, and it draws you in. You know, the stories are different. The performances are both great in both films, but the subtleties and the nods and the way they handle the performance are all different. These are two great films, but of different cuts. So, you know, when it comes to choosing which film you're going to prefer for some people, it's very difficult because it comes to a matter of taste, which is something we've discussed often in these films. It's a matter of taste. And I like both films. I think both films are not just fantastic superhero films, just fantastic movies on their own. These are movies, like, if I took someone who didn't watch Marvel movies, I would show them Winter Soldier. If I took someone who didn't care for X-Men movies, I would show them Logan. You know, these are the movies I think can convert people to enjoy something they otherwise would not enjoy. So it's very difficult to pick one over the other, but I do have my preference because of matter of taste. But before I discuss what my preference is, I think I have to fairly try to talk myself into thinking I'm wrong. Because I think that's fair. Because I have the strength of both. Like, some of the movies we've had on here, I have come out right away and said, I'm going to pick this movie over that movie. Because I knew there was no argument that was going to sway me. Here, there might be argument that can sway me, which is why I'm not going to immediately tell you which movie I'm thinking. So you've got to break it down to my opinion categories. First off, start with story. I think Logan has the better story.
Yeah.
I think it's more emotionally impactful. I think on a personal level, it reaches to you more. I think that acting expresses the story better than it does in Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier does all these things well. This is not me pointing at Winter Soldier and Winter Soldier is terrible at this. This is just the thing I think Logan goes an extra mile on the story. Yeah. Winter Soldier story is great, though. You know, I think it's less straightforward and less formulaic than a lot of Marvel movies. I think the Hydra shield twist is just well done. Even if you know it's coming, it's still well done and it's still impactful. I think both movies don't have like a direct one-on-one villain. I guess you can technically say Logan does it, the guy with the hand. Yeah. But even then,
you can look at that as it being Bucky.
Yeah.
You know.
It could be Bucky. You know, but you know, there's no like ultimate big baddie they have to overcome. Yeah. There's minions. There's like the clones. But even the clones aren't the one singular big baddie. Wolverine's just going up against the world, pretty much. You know, and Captain America's going up against the system. You know, and Bucky is a victim of that system. Bucky's a victim as well as a antagonist in that film. I think we can come to a better conclusion if we break this down. So story, I think I'll tell you why I think Logan's the better story, but I still think Winter Soldier is a capable story that there's argument to be made.
This is difficult. You pretty much hit it. The stories are almost parallel for the characters they are and for the universes that they're individually in. The stories can be seen as parallel because, like you said, this is not like, oh, there's the bad guy, let's go get him. No, this is, okay, Steve Rogers has to fight outside the system to which he's accustomed to being a part of. And this is Logan trying to just, I don't even know if he's trying to survive, trying to die even, like trying to get to the end of his journey. Just trying to finish his journey and be, left the fuck alone most of the time. There is an emotional charge to Winter Soldier. It is there because of the story of Bucky and Rogers. I don't think it's as impactful, I guess, as the Logan story. And I can't even really tell you why. It's just not quite as much of a gut check that you get with Logan. I mean, when you get Professor X at the end of his life with Logan, like Brian, you had mentioned last time, the line that like broke your heart, what a disappointment. Like that, the time right before Professor X gets killed, and he tells the story of, I don't think I deserved this day. I remember what I did, and I don't deserve this day. The heartbreak that's there on an emotional and a personal level is overwhelming. I think is the only word I can use to describe that. Yeah. I don't really have much else to add to that.
One thing on the story front, and one thing I think we actually really hadn't touched on much in our discussions of Logan is, and to draw the parallel between the two films one more time, you look at, at the end of the day, you look at Steve Rogers and Logan, and at the end of the day, their motivations in these two films could, ultimately, to a certain extent, be described as selfish in both cases. Steve wants his best friend back. Yeah. Logan just wants, like you said, Logan wants to be left the fuck alone. He wants something that he thinks he sees one shot at ending his life in peace, and that's that boat. He wants to buy that boat so he and Professor X can sail off into the sunset, literally and figuratively speaking, and die in peace, basically. And, so there's another parallel for you between the two characters. And, it's, I think, another thing with the story is I think it's, ultimately, while the story of what Steve Rogers is trying to accomplish in Winter Soldier is very relatable, I think it's just Logan is that much more personal because it's all about this one man. He wants to be left alone, but he's basically kind of given the one last job effectively, and and that job takes him in a direction he didn't think he was ever going to go. And and another personal note about that film, I think this topic came up when Logan was in the first round of the tournament, where we talked about how at the very end of the film, what did he mean when he said, "So that's what that feels like."
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if we feel free to stop me if we touched on this a couple weeks ago when we filmed that, but I feel like what he meant was he had forgotten what love felt like. Like the only thing resembling love that I think Wolverine had ever really felt was the love he had for Jean Grey. And, well, we saw how that went. So I think he had forgotten what that felt like, to a certain extent. It was a different kind. I mean, you can make the argument that there's definitely a love and respect between him and Professor Xavier. Yes. But the kind of love he had with the daughter he never knew he was going to have,
it's a different
kind.
Completely different bond and a different love.
It is, and I don't think that might be a kind of love he had never known.
And that's I think an excellent point. And I think I mentioned this last time that I believe that is what he was talking about. This is what caring for something other than myself to the point that I am willing to actually die
Yep.
for that thing.
Yep. And that's what I think makes his death all the more poignant at the end of that film. That's one of my favorite words, by the way. We've talked so much about how Logan wanted to die, you know, but he just wanted to die because he was tired of everything. That's what he was, a tired fucking old man,
Grumpy old man.
who was just tired of life shit and just wanted to go sail on his boat and die.
Yeah.
But at the end, you know, much as he had been willing to do it, you know, in his days in the X-Men, he was willing. He got to die fighting for something that meant something to him.
Yes.
And I honestly feel like, you know, yeah, it's sad. That ending is very sad because of the, you know, but in a way, like, I feel like after everything that he had gone through, it's actually kind of a happy ending in a way because, you know, he got to do something meaningful with his last days. Because, you know, the whole, you know, we talk about how he just wanted to go die. And it clearly comes out that he's got some kind of adamantium poisoning or whatever other bullshit he's got. But he knows, like you said, he knows he's dying.
Yeah.
And the doctor even's like, I can take care of you. And he's like, no thanks, basically. He wants no part of it. You know, it goes down to, I appreciate the Captain America story, but I think there's there's a personal level that Logan operates on that is just a little deeper than what Captain America operates on. That being said, and actually, if you wanted to have a point about the story before I get into this, there was another point I wanted to compare the two films against, which is that of fight choreography. But did you have any points on the story?
What's interesting is that I was gonna, for story wise, I was actually gonna make a point of the fight. That that's one thing it seems like that MCU does a lot of. They structure some of the story around fighting. I mean, I could be wrong, but most of it's a lot of fighting involved in most of their movies.
Yeah.
And they're good movies. You know, it's still really good movies. But when you look at the basis of, if I'm not mistaken, like Winter Soldier has a lot of fight scenes in it. Like it's like you got the elevator fight scene. You got him running. You know, you got him running from it all. You got him. You got the first interaction he has with Winter Soldier on the highway. You know. You got all these other things, like it's just, it's a lot of fights going on. Whereas Logan, you got the very first fight in the beginning, you got that little mix up in the middle, and then you get the
final.
You know, well, yeah. You get two quick mix ups, you know, that whole.
Well, at the farm, you get the one at the farm, and then
you get the one when they're leaving, that all that's, all that's tied in together. It's, you know, yeah. But other than that, it's straight story, and it keeps your attention. Like, even as though it pretty much is just a drama. Like, it has the action in it, but I would say that it's more of a drama movie than it is an action film. Logan is.
I think it's better for it.
Yeah.
For the story they tried to tell and what they were doing. I think it's exactly... It's laid out exactly the way it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's it. When you see Logan as the title of the film, you're thinking, okay, yeah, just crap ton of fighting because it's Logan. No, like it's more story driven than it is fight driven.
It subverts your expectation in the best way.
Yeah.
Of that.
Whereas, you know, and not to deny it, but Winter Soldier
it's exactly what
I expected. Yeah. You know, oh well, I forgot to mention it starts out with the fight on the boat. You know,
yeah,
huh?
A sailor.
Yeah,
one of my favorite.
That was actually
yeah. You know,
forgot about that fight for a second.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I forgot about that either, but you know, it starts out with a fight.
Yeah.
And, you know, a few scenes later, it's another fight. You know, a few scenes later, it's another fight. Like, and don't get me wrong, it helps move the story along. You know, it's just
it's what that movie needed.
Yeah.
Like.
And even the car chase, like, it's so much action. Like, story-wise, that's the thing. It's like you get so much, like, you actually get the action film from Winter Soldier, whereas Logan is not what you expect, and it works, and it does such an amazing job on it. Because, as you said, previous round, the script is amazing. Like, it's
yeah. But on the topic, getting to the topic of fights, though, yeah. Yes, Captain America, you know, definitely has way more fighting to it than Logan does. And again, that's clearly by design and intentional. But I think it's worth noting comparing the styles of fights we get in the two. Like you look at the fights in Logan, they're bloody, they're visceral, they are.
Yeah.
They do not hold back.
Intense.
He will kill. Wolverine can and will kill you.
Yeah.
Not will kill you if you provoke him. No, he's Wolverine. He doesn't give a fuck. He'll kill you. You know, like. But although to be fair, he doesn't want to fight until provoked. But if you provoke, you will not live to regret it. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, when I think back to the fight scenes, I remember from when I think back to the fight scenes of Captain America: Winter Soldier, I think back to what it was like when I was a kid. And I remember, obviously looking back on them now, they don't all age super well. But when I imagine I think back to how I felt as a kid watching the Power Rangers and what those fight scenes felt like to me.
Yeah.
These awesome
Exciting.
kung fu. I mean, I wouldn't call the Marvel fights kung fu, but like these epic martial arts fights, all this great hand-to-hand combat and acrobatics, and it was just kind of like those are the kind of things that had me just going ooh, as a kid.
Yeah.
And fucking the fight scenes in Captain America: Winter Soldier has adult me going, ooh,
Yeah.
Same stuff.
If the Avengers and what we see of him in the first Avenger doesn't do it for you, Winter Soldier does an excellent job of showing you just how much of a fucking badass Captain America is.
Yeah.
Like like I said before the Avengers stuff and all these recent MCU films. Growing up, like I understood, like okay, Captain America, he loves America and he's got a shield.
Oh
and,
boy. Yeah.
and like that didn't appeal to me as a kid, but now I'm like, no, this dude's legit badass. Like I mean, and it was all those fight scenes were just so well choreographed. Like I would even go so far as to say that I think the fight scenes in that film may be among the best in the entire, although are definitely among the best in the entire MCU. I would put those up against Black Panther's fight scenes, the ending fight scene from Civil War, and to take it into the Netflix realm of things, I've always been really impressed by the Daredevil court fight
Oh my God.
choreography.
Oh,
Yeah.
First season,
Yes.
episode 2, that hallway fight scene.
Yeah.
Sick. It's so fucking sick.
So good of a fight scene.
But yeah, I would say in that department, the fights, I enjoy the fight scenes in Captain America a bit more, just because of how well choreographed and how, again, there's the whole. No, granted, I think it applies more to the Civil War fight than that, but there's definitely some instances of the whole no wasted motion concept, and there's a lot of fluidity to the fighting and stuff.
I think in this case, the correct phrase would be no wasted fight. There's
Yeah,
no
yes.
fight that doesn't feel like it shouldn't be in the movie.
Yeah. It's
If you're gonna have a movie with a lot of fight scenes, those fight scenes better be fucking good.
Yeah.
And I think the fight scenes in Winter Soldier is one of its strengths in this argument because it does action. It does action superbly well. Like action movies should have action, obviously.
Yeah.
But not all action is equal. There's action that's fun, but ultimately it leaves you empty, and there's action that's fun, but it's also great, and you can appreciate how well it's shot, how well it's done, and the amount of work it went into just doing the simplest of things. Every fight scene, not all the fights just felt like the same scenario. You had the boat fight, you had the elevator fight, which is just personal and in
Before
your
we begin,
Yeah.
does anybody want to get off?
Yeah.
That's
It's
just a great
oh.
line. You have the assault on the shield base.
Yeah.
Every fight just feels like its own scene.
Yeah.
Which is appreciative. It doesn't feel like the same fight over and over again, which you can run into when you do fight heavy movies.
Yeah.
I think the fighting is its strength. I think the choreography is a huge strength, and I think I think, like you said, I think we did the Avengers did too, but I think in Captain Winter Soldier we realized what type of person Steve Rogers can be in these situations, and we see a little bit more of how exactly badass Black Widow is. And we definitely see how badass Winter Soldier is, and you can believe he can go toe to toe with Captain fucking America.
Yeah.
It's just, I think this is a strength, and if you're going to have a movie that's a lot of action, that action would be damn good, and it is top notch. Some of the best action you get in the MCU films. Like you get some bigger fights, and you get some more expressive and visual fights in the MCU, but these just felt good. They felt different. They felt unique. They felt like they belonged in the movie, and I think that's a strength. With Logan, the fighting's more sporadic, but like you said, it's a drama, not an action movie. The action, the drama is the drama and the emotion is the big thing about Logan. The action just happens when it has to happen.
Yeah.
And the action is way different than a Marvel movie. Like you said, it's visual, it's violent, it's Wolverine.
Yeah.
It fits the tone of Logan.
Absolutely.
And but I don't think Logan wins the fight choreography battle just because it's going up against an action movie that does action extremely well. So I don't think it's a battle Logan had to win in this argument, but it definitely helps Winter Soldier's case.
Yeah.
Because I think that is one of the biggest strengths, and you can't ignore how well it does its choreography.
Definitely.
And the looks of its movie.
Yeah, I don't think you can ignore how well it does the choreography when it has the number of fights that we're talking about here. When almost every new scenario has an accompanying fight scene, at least a small one. You've got. I'm not going to sit here and list them all out because I can't even think of them all. But correct me if I'm wrong. Is Winter Soldier is the one where, I believe, I can't remember if it was Bucky. Somebody was getting away in a helicopter.
No, that's Civil War.
That was Civil War.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Bucky
My
getting
bad.
away in a helicopter. Yes, but different movie.
My bad. Then I just want to point out, damn, Captain Rogers is just a beast. The phrase "no wasted fights" here is appropriate, and when you have the number of fight scenes that Winter Soldier has, that is impressive that you have no wasted fights.
Yeah.
And that is something to be said for being able to choreograph that many fights, have them all have their own feel and their own specific, fight choreography, and they're still all top notch. The fighting in Logan, again, it's Logan. It is exactly what it should be, and it's exactly what it needs to be. But I think I agree with Jerry. The fighting does take a back seat, but it's by design.
Yes.
It is by design, and it is, again, to the betterment of Logan because the focus is on the drama and the journey of Logan.
And now what I really want to discuss, and really, I was thinking about this before we got to discussing it, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized this is where it's going to put one movie out of reach from the other to me. I'm trying really hard to give one of these movies a fair fight, because this is the final round, and there's going to be no more arguments made once we do our votes.
Right.
What's done is done. But now we get to acting. And let's start with Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier has some really good acting. Winter Soldier is where Chris Evans becomes Captain America. Well, Avengers is where he becomes Captain America, but Winter Soldier is where I really feel Captain America.
So, just real quick, like I was saying before, this is the movie that made me care about Captain America, and Chris Evans made me care about Captain America in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think it's the difference is Avengers is where we say, okay, Chris Evans is a really good Captain America. Winter Soldier is the film where we say, Chris Evans is Captain America.
Yes, Chris Evans is Captain America in Winter Soldier. And the other performances in the film are good. But Chris Evans, because he is Captain America, really nailed it out of the park in this movie, and he fucking does. From the action scene to the where he's acting and having to converse with people, to the way he carries himself, from his facial expressions, from his body language, he is Captain America.
Yeah.
He embraces the character and he nails it out of the park. And he is rightfully the strongest performance in the film. And he should be. If he's not, if Captain America is not the strongest performer in Winter Soldier, you have a major problem. I think they don't have a major problem. Scarlett Johansson, she's a good actress, so she's a good Black Widow. Nick Fury is Samuel Jackson is consistent as Nick Fury.
It's Nick Fury.
Samuel Jackson is consistent as Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Robert Redford does exactly what he has to do in his role.
Yeah.
And again, the personal taste, the guy who plays Crossbones, or the guy who becomes Crossbones, it's not bad acting, but it's not memorable either.
Yeah.
The guy who played, I'm a poor boy acting. The guy who plays Falcon, he's good.
Yeah.
But I feel like I enjoy him more in other films. But he's good, and they do a good job of presenting his character.
Yeah.
Setting him up. So the acting is consistent in Captain America, and the acting is not in any way a weakness in this argument for Winter Soldier. It's just that other than Captain America, there's no performance that stands with me. There's performances that I can say is good, but other than Captain America, which is fine, there's no performance that, even Bucky. Bucky's a good performance. But, but he's the silent badass assassin. He doesn't get the, other than small moments, and don't get me wrong, he does the small moments well. We don't get to see
Yeah,
him
he's-
really.
Not in this movie.
Like,
Not
thinking
in
of
Civil
really
War.
actually sitting there thinking about it, he doesn't talk much at all.
Yeah.
Just the very end. he gets
But his
little-
body,
Yeah.
body language, the way he
Yeah.
carries himself in the fight scenes. That one scene,
Yeah.
one moment where he does the knife, drops the knife. I think that was actually him.
Yeah.
That's just that's just awesome. He just carries himself like a badass assassin.
Yeah.
And really, that's all he needed to do
Yep.
until Steve Rogers was finally able to break through the facade.
Yeah.
So its biggest acting trick in his argument is Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. So we get to Logan, and I'm just gonna get out of the way that Hugh Jackman just nails it out of the park.
Yeah.
And it's his movie, but with all due respect, I have to bring up another performance, and that is Patrick Stewart as Dr. Xavier, Dr. X, Charles Xavier. Blows any other performance of anyone in these two movies out of the park.
Yeah.
And part of it is that dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff like that is a real fear of mine. It is a legit fear of mine. So just seeing him go through that and act it out rips me the fuck apart, even though I know it's acting.
Yeah.
He does it so well to
good.
the point I forget it's acting.
Yeah.
I don't see Patrick Stewart pretending to have dementia and Alzheimer's as a doctor. I see Charles Xavier suffering.
Yeah.
And his suffering has caused other suffering unintentionally, and he has to carry that burden with what little memories he has remaining.
Yeah.
It's just a gut-wrenching, heart-stopping performance. I know, award shows for the most part are bull and political, but even still, it makes me mad he did not get recognition
Yeah.
from award shows that he deserved for his performance in that movie.
Yeah.
If Heath Ledger can rightfully win awards for the Joker, Patrick Stewart should be winning awards for Charles Xavier
Yeah.
Yeah.
going through what he did in Logan. And again, Hugh Jackman is great in this film. And Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart's interactions in this film, their acting, directing films are just emotional and impactful. They're going to do a drama film. Great drama films need great acting. They just do. Like a comedy film can get away.
Important.
Comedy film can substitute strong acting with laughs.
Yeah.
Action films can substitute
Yeah,
strong acting with action. Winter Soldier just happens to have both.
Yeah.
But Logan needed strong acting, and it got it. Not just from them; it got it from a lot of fields. But it really needed the interaction, the chemistry from Logan and Charles Xavier to be strong, and it was. So, in my opinion, there's a few more things I probably will discuss if they come to mind. But in my opinion, right now, the acting puts Logan over Winter Soldier for me.
So, on the acting of Logan, I think you mentioned that Winter Soldier has a stellar performance by Chris Evans, and then 90% of the rest of the cast is good,
Yeah.
good to great.
Yeah.
It's serviceable. I cannot think of a single performance in Logan, acting wise, that I looked at and said, "Oh, that could have been done better. Oh, that wasn't great." That not a single performance, from the doctor who treated him to the nurse to the lady who was yelling at X-23 about throwing the ball or whatever. the hell that was. Like, every single performance was believable. It was
Real.
Thank you. The suspension of disbelief for Logan is gone. Like, I watch Logan and I'm in the movie. I am right there in the zone because it's that well acted by every single performer I see on screen. I don't see performers. I don't see Hugh Jackman. I don't see Patrick Stewart. I see Professor X. I see Wolverine. I see X-23. I see X-24. Just everything. The Claw guy. Like, even though as a villain he's a minor villain, his acting and exactly what he was outstanding. Like I said, I cannot think of a single performance in that movie that I was just like, oh, that didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Not one.
It's top to bottom great in the acting department, no doubt about it. The one thing I think we also have to be careful, though, is, much in the same way that we talked about how, you can't fault Logan for having not as good and I almost feel like I can't even say not as good, but having less action to it.
It's less.
When it was designed that way. I think we also have to be careful. It's going to be hard when they're on their A game. It is going to be hard for any film to stand up to the acting of a world-renowned, stage, film and stage actor like Hugh Jackman. And I mean, when you look at what Sir Patrick Stewart has accomplished in his career, it's like, if those two are when those two are on their game like they were in Logan, there's not many films out there that are going to match that in the acting department.
That is fair.
So
that is absolutely fair. Yeah.
And again,
I did not want to discredit Civil War, Winter Soldier. I gotta stop doing that. I did not want to discredit Winter Soldier at all. I really don't. I just saying that when we're breaking it down like this and we look at the acting piece, I see good to great with 2 to 3 stellar performances in Winter Soldier. I see top to bottom stellar.
Yeah, versus
Logan.
Over here you're like, how did nobody over here win an Academy Award for something?
Yeah.
It's just like
that's all. That is all my point is on that.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of again, in that department, it's good. It's almost impossible to argue that Logan is better in that sense. It is. So I liked the Doctor. The one. I think he had the kind of the Irish accent, or like I want to take care. I can take care of you. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm fine. I mean, he's narrator. Logan was not fine.
He's never been fine.
And also, that's for damn sure. And then you look at even X-23's caretaker. Even she was pretty.
The nurse,
the nurse.
Exactly.
She has this emotional plea for him to take care of her, and go figure when they find her, she's fucking dead. And it's like, well, shit. Yet again, everyone around Logan dies, and
he's fully aware of it.
And he's just. I think when he finds her, he's just kind of like,
yep,
shit.
He's like, yep, that's right.
That's about par for the course. So the thing that makes this really difficult for me is to make a counterpoint to something Jerry said about how if you wanted to show somebody a good action movie, you would show them Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. If you wanted to show them a good drama, you would show them Logan. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I'm kind of hanging up about right now is when I think about what the purpose of this tournament is and what this bracket is, the winner of this bracket is supposed to represent. Mm-hmm. This bracket for me ultimately is supposed to represent if I out of all the Marvel side comic films, if I could show somebody one movie, what would I show them? Mm-hmm. Again, it's such a hard thing because I love both of these movies so unconditionally.
I think we all do. That's why this is. That's why it's the final round. It's why this is the best of the best.
Yeah.
The last.
But at the end of the day, I look at the winner of this bracket as somebody. I'm talking to it like it's a person.
I mean, it almost is. To us.
In a way. Yeah. I'm looking at a film and I say, when I think of when someone asks me why are comic book movies great, what movie can I point to? And I feel, and the thing is as a drama, I think Logan, is almost insurmountable. I would say, but when I think about what film encompasses what Marvel means. When I think of the word Marvel, what does Marvel Comics and what does the Marvel Cinematic Universe, granted, I know, technically you can't call Logan part of the MCU because it's on the Fox side, but either way, I still, when I think of what a Marvel film can be, what does that mean to me? And I think, the thing is, I feel like, and Jerry, you made this argument, and I entirely agree with you. Logan is not a film everyone will like. The thing is even if you're not super into comics, I can't think of anybody I know that I could show them the Captain America Winter Soldier, and I can't, and I don't think they would enjoy it. Whether it be at a comic book level, or just as a fun goddamn film that is well written and well acted. And I think that's something that ultimately is where the decision is going to lie here. We could probably sit here for hours, and and feel free to continue doing so. I'm not saying we need to stop, but I feel like we need to, because we're not gonna. But I look at Logan, impeccable acting, Captain America, great fighting, story. Logan is they're actually pretty close. It's So it's as Jerry, as you've already acquainted, I think it's going to come down to personal taste. When I think of which of these two might be the better comic book movie, and I'm not necessarily saying this is my vote, but when I think of it as like what is like the best Marvel film, I might have to go with Captain America on that, just because of just how well done it is on all facets of things, and again, it's a tough call for me because I love them both, but it's.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're in the last round because this is a tough call.
But I have to think about what Marvel represents to me, and everything about that movie is what I think Marvel is all about. And Jerry even said it best, and I think I could not agree more with him. Captain America: Winter Soldier is the Marvel formula perfected.
We pretty much everything's been said at this point. With 3 rounds of the same movie sweeping over and over again.
It really does boil down to taste.
I think that's what the vote is going to have to boil down to.
It's not even. This feels so bad because it's like.
Yeah,
the isn't
loser
necessarily
is
better
not
than the other. Like
right, they're just different movies.
It's just. What do you feel like?
The answer could change tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like what we vote for now, I don't know about the rest of you. What I vote for now will probably be different if we did this tomorrow, or if we did it yesterday,
or next week, or what have you.
Yeah. And that's I keep thinking about it, and it's one of those things where we're gonna overthink it if we keep going too far along. So with that, Jerry,
I'm gonna end myself, and then we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm and for the record, this isn't directed at you because I don't want to come off as an asshole here. Because you're using what your hang up is and what making you Winter Soldier. You're thinking what you would show to another film, for a comic film, and you think it's what a Marvel movie means to you. You see, my hang up with that and why that doesn't work on me is because through this tournament we've heard how I've spoken of several Marvel films. And we have seen what Marvel films mean to me quite a bit of time. And a lot of times they are more disappointing than I expected them to be. Winter Soldier just happens to exceed my expectations of what I've had thought Marvel films were capable of. Because I never liked, with the exception of Iron Man, as you all know, I did not do well with the first round of Marvel films. I didn't like First Avenger. I didn't like 4. Avengers finally, I almost didn't go see Avengers. Eli had to convince me to go see Avengers. Because I was so disappointed in Captain America and Thor, I almost did not bother going to see Avengers. So, I have always not liked Marvel movies as much as a lot of my friends. I don't hate them. I think they're fun, like Ant-Man and Wasp. I think it's fun. I don't have the same high on it as some other people do. I'm trying to think of another film. Age of Ultron. I have some films who people who try to convince me Age of Ultron is a good film. I think it's okay, but I can't go any higher than that. So and I get the respect to argument you think about which movie you would show to friends. But to me, this is not a debate about what movie would I show to friends. This is a bit about which movie do I prefer. And as we now open the round of voting, the answer could change depending on feeling. Because some days maybe I just want a kick-ass action film that makes me feel better. But today I do not want an action film that makes me feel better. I just want an emotional gut punch that is well acted, well scripted. The cinematography is amazing, and musical choices is just top notch. So for tonight, I have to go with Logan.
All right, that's vote for Logan. Brian, you made a good point earlier about this bracket to you is what is the best Marvel movie. You said to you the bracket is best Marvel movie.
Yeah.
So you define best Marvel movie. I personally, I got this inspiration to do this bracket by a little show called Madness by the Normal Boots guys, and Pro Jared actually did a similar thing when they were doing best N64 games. He would literally say, well, what defines an N64 game? And to me, I think that's actually not, that's not the way I want to look at this. And that doesn't mean you should change your vote. That doesn't mean you should,
please.
The way I look at this is I picked Marvel is the category. I then the movies were voted on, and we pulled them all together. So what I'm looking at is what's the best movie that just happens to have the Marvel logo on it. And for my money, what movie am I gonna go see 2, 3, 4, 5 times? You put a TV down in front of me, and you say, okay, we're watching Winter Soldier or we're watching Logan. What am I gonna pick? I'm gonna have to go with Logan. And that's just, again, that if we vote tomorrow, I could say Winter Soldier. But for right now, I'm going with Logan. And Brian,
Oh,
final points and vote.
Daniel, can you go first? I'm having a rethink.
Let me tell you, chat, we're going to tell you right now, if this goes to tie, we're going to throw it up to you. So, let's see how this goes. Daniel, let's go. We're going to tie. But again, it's the final round for a reason. Both of these movies swept their competition.
It was so easy their other rounds. Like,
except for Thor Ragnarok. I will say Thor Ragnarok
that
versus
one was
Logan
hard.
was tough. Other than that, these movies swept. Not even a thought was given.
for definitely MCU, like when we're looking individual Marvel movies, like for each of the studios that made them.
Right. Well, this is Fox's best versus
Yeah.
Marvel MCU's best. That's what this is.
Or one
right
of
now.
the best. That's up for debate, but that's for another time. But yeah, no, it definitely is. Winter Soldier is top, top bill for MCU, whereas Logan is the best thing since sliced bread for Fox to put out. Like it, the only thing that you could say would rival it is Deadpool, but that's a different scenario. Whereas, yes, we spoke about this in the first round, that if it was not for the success of Deadpool, we may not have gotten Logan.
Right.
So, we kind of have to take
We have to
Deadpool
thank
a little
Deadpool
bit
for that.
But
that doesn't
it's one of those scenarios where you all talked about that, when we talked earlier, that it took, Winter Soldier took what First Avenger gave and then built on it. Whereas once Fox saw what it could do with Deadpool, it was like, well, here we go. Let's put a movie out that people want, that people we know are going to go see. They chose the right character for it. I feel like if they went another route with somebody else, like if they took another X-Men and made a movie like it, it may not have worked. They did exactly what they needed to make a movie work. It's just Logan. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, like I literally watched it back-to-back nights, like, and I didn't even it wasn't even a second thought to me. It's like I still had the same raw emotions that I did both nights. It's just the constant struggle and everything. It just, I don't know if it's my kind of hate-ish for Captain America,
right?
But I just don't get the same thing out of Winter Soldier. It's still, again, it's
fantastic.
It's a fantastic movie, but I just don't get the same for it. Like
you don't get that feeling, that raw emotion.
Like even taking out the difference in the movies, like one of the drama, one's like just looking at it from a movie standpoint, it just I don't get the same out of Winter Soldier that I do Logan.
And there it is.
And that's my thing, and that's for me when it comes down to it. At the end of the day, what movie would I rather put in? I've already done it twice.
It's already proven that it wins that.
It's Logan for me. Like hands down, Logan is the best of this bracket.
Yep. Brian, well, go ahead and make your vote.
I'm going to say I think we have a winner now, but I will go ahead and say honestly, as I was having a rethink about it because I feel like there was part of me that's like somebody's got to vote for Winter Soldier, right? But it's like. But the thing is like because I remember we had that conversation with I think it was Sage who brought up the whole thing. He's like I feel like drama always gets an edge because it's drama.
Sage did bring that up and
how a lot of times drama gets the edge just for being drama. And while I do think that's true in some cases, I sat here I was having this internal monologue against myself because I even had this thought in my mind just to share this thought I had. I had this thought of I love Logan, because Logan is, as Jerry put so eloquently, an emotional gut punch. I feel like it's a movie that there will be days that I'm not ready for it. I'm not I'm not in the right.
Absolutely, I cannot. That you can't watch it because you'll just be like, well, I want to die now.
Is that what I'm doing tonight? Crying? Okay, cool.
Right? Yeah.
But you know what? I needed to use those last few tissues anyway, right? But like, and there was part of me that was part of my brain was trying to make the argument of, well, Logan is a film that as great as it is, it's so heavy there would be days I was not in the right headspace for it, and that I would need it's obviously not brainless, because that's definitely not the case with Winter Soldier. But there's part of me that kind of feels like Winter Soldier is the kind of movie that I could put on just about any night of the week and be chill with it. But the simple fact is that argument kind of breaks down when I consider the fact that there's going to be days when the hoopity-joopity action of Captain America: The Winter Soldier is also not going to be what I want.
That's not what you're looking for.
Some days
day.
there's going to be the days when I want something down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the honest truth is, as great as Winter Soldier is, we keep bringing back the argument of there's so few movies I've ever seen in theaters twice.
Yeah.
And it was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even see Winter Soldier in theaters twice, believe it or not. But the whole like Winter Soldier being easier to digest on a bad day doesn't. That doesn't automatically give it the edge, no matter how much my brain may want. My brain wants to go, but this is the movie you could watch any day, and it's like, yeah, but does that necessarily make it better, or does that just make it most
accessible.
moods I'm in, I'll be good for it. But Captain America: The Winter Soldier, to me reflects everything that's great about an MCU film.
Yeah.
And I stand by what I said on that. I absolutely do.
Of course.
So, but at the end of the day, I made the comment of this thing being about the best Marvel film, and I'm totally a hypocrite on this, and I'm totally gonna backpedal.
Welcome to the bracket.
But
Because I haven't been a hypocrite once.
Not once, Smokey.
I do genuinely believe that Captain America: The Winter Soldier reflects everything that an MCU film can be. That is all the best things about an MCU film. But at the end of the day, Logan represents everything that just a good movie is. Like, and at the end of the day, when a film like Logan can affect you, regardless of genre, that Logan is in territory that only The Dark Knight sits in. This is a movie that, whether you care about comic books or not, whether you care about action movies or not, there is something that can be appreciated. I feel like Logan can be genuinely appreciated as a work of art, in the world of film. And as much as I didn't want us to have another clean sweep, fuck it, Logan's so fucking good. Logan's so fucking good.
So sorry, Bucky.
It's such a good movie.
We're so sorry, Bucky, but as Josh
Not
put it,
everybody is-
the Schindler's List for mutants wins this round.
Yeah,
Don't apologize to Bucky. He killed Tony's parents.
That's
Some of
true.
us don't
Fuck Bucky.
sit down. Some of us don't sit there.
That's Bucky. Bucky
That's
does
what I'm
that.
saying.
Nope. I don't think anybody heard
He
you.
strokes him with the good
I
arm.
did it.
Yeah. So,
yes, sir. Logan's fucking great.
and we
wins.
have our champion, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for joining. We will catch you next time.